tastes like a cherry, you blow up like a bomb, and I'd do anything to turn you on.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu JMC. Ich sitze hier gerade mit Erik Penny mitten in Kreuzberg. So, Erik, maybe you can just introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Why are you sitting next to me?
Why, there's the question. Why am I sitting next to you? I'm gonna go backwards. I'm sitting next to you because you all were kind enough to invite me to an interview and a live performance on JMC, and thank you for that. And what was the second question? What am I doing?
Yeah.
I think. So what am I doing? I moved to Berlin about a year and a half ago, and I'm pursuing a music career. And who am I? I'm Erik Penny from Los Angeles.
And has your working process changed since you live in Berlin?
Very much, very much. When I was in Los Angeles, I was also working as a bartender and did that for many years because in LA you make a lot of money tending bar. And so I was always, my attention was always divided between working this regular job and doing music, which is my passion, and I was doing it professionally. But then when I moved to Berlin, part of the decision moving here was to do nothing else, do nothing but music. Also, certainly the just changing your surroundings, you know, from a place like Los Angeles to a place like Berlin is an enormous change. The climate is totally different. The people are totally different. The language is different. The culture is different. And when all this suddenly changes, you find that all your inspiration is just like at 1,000% because there's all these things coming at you every day that you haven't seen, or if you've seen them, they were on vacation or something. And it's not part of your life. So something stupid like really good, you know, Graubrot is like so exciting to me.
And will you burn a light that the people will remember? Will you run alone?
So you talked about your inspirations. What exactly inspires you to write songs? Things in your daily life, or rather, I don't know, do you invent stories?
Both, actually, things in my daily life and I invent stories. But there's so much inspiration around, and there's so many little stories going on in everyone's everyday life that it's, for instance, one of my songs comes from looking across the street here in the first couple of weeks that we were in Berlin. And this is kind of a unique thing for me to be able to look across the street into someone else's apartment. And I didn't want to spy on anyone, but I saw these people fighting across the street, this girl and this guy, and they were just going at it right there in that apartment. And then she ran out of the room, and then she ran out downstairs and ran down the street. And I thought, oh man, that's a hell of a scene. They're having a terrible fight. And then this whole story popped into my head, and I wrote this song called Honey Please about that. And
well now, honey, please don't cry. Honey, please don't say goodbye to me now. You're gonna miss me somehow.
And now you worked with a lot of German musicians, actually. How did you meet them? Is it really, is there a kind of music scene where everyone knows everyone here in Germany? Is it like that?
You know, it's interesting that you asked that, because I think that it feels to me like the German music scene, in a lot of ways, is similar to the LA music scene. Everyone in LA is kind of connected in some way. And lucky, I think, actually, to meet some of the people that I met from the very beginning. Like the third week I was here, this is kind of an interesting story. This is a good one. I have thousands. I was watching TV Total, and Dido was the musical guest, and she was on singing and playing acoustic guitar with just another person, a guy playing guitar with her. So it was no electronic stuff, just two acoustic guitars. Really, really lovely performance. And I was looking at the guy, thinking, like, I think I know that guy. And sure enough, it's a friend of mine called Joel Shearer from Los Angeles. So he was on German television playing with Dido. And so I'm sitting there, and I got to write him an email. So I hadn't spoken with him for 6 months or so before I left LA, so he didn't even know I was in Germany. I wrote him an email, telling him I just saw him on German TV, and he wrote me an email the next day saying, "Oh man, okay, great, you're in Berlin. I'm so excited. I'm so jealous. Here's like 10 different people that you got to contact." So he's lived in Berlin on and off, and so he put me in touch with like 10 different people who were living in Berlin and who immediately said, "Oh yeah, well, let's meet for a coffee, let's meet for a beer, and let's start talking about how we could maybe work together." And so that happened so quickly and so naturally, just through friends, which I always find the best way to get these situations going is actually through friends.
And will you burn a light that the people will remember?
There's actually a video on YouTube where you're playing in the U-Bahn right here in Berlin. Was it just for fun, or do you think it's really a way to grab people's attention, going on the street, playing on the street? And
both, actually. That U-Bahn video was totally for fun, totally spontaneous. One day spontaneous. We had some friends in town from Los Angeles, and we were sitting here having some drinks, and we got to talking about how you can actually drink on the U-Bahn and drink on the street, because in the States you can't drink on the street and you can't drink on the trains or any public transportation. And they thought that was just the greatest thing, so they said, "Oh, tomorrow let's go just take a bunch of beers and go on the U-Bahn and drink." And I said, "That's a great idea, let's do it." And they said, "Yeah, and you should take your guitar and you can give a concert." And I said, "That's a pretty good idea too." And so then my friend said, "Oh, and you should post it on Facebook right now." And I thought, yeah, why not? I'm drunk, it's a great idea. So I posted it on Facebook. Next morning I woke up and oh shit, I posted that on Facebook. Meet me at the Magen U-Bahn station at 9 o'clock and we'll get on the train. And so we had to go because we already posted it. And like 30 people came.
Okay, so thank you for the moment.
My pleasure.
And have fun on your tour.
Thank you.
Now honey, please don't cry. Honey, please don't say goodbye to me now. You're gonna miss me somehow. I was on my knees all night. I was begging you, please don't say goodbye to me now. You're gonna miss me somehow. Now honey, please don't cry. Honey, please don't say goodbye to me now. You're gonna miss me somehow. I was on my knees all night. I was begging you, please don't say goodbye to me now. You're gonna miss me somehow. No, no, don't do me wrong, darling. No, no, don't do me wrong, darling. 'Cause I know you'll miss me somehow when that summer rain falls freezing on your door.
Nice going, Miller. Of course, he's always the star. That's Miller. Miller's from LA, Miller the cat.